We are live. Welcome, A-listers. This is going to be my favorite day. I know we've been together a lot over the last several months, A-listers, you and me, but today is a very special day, a very special treat. One of my favorite people in the whole world, probably a person I can point to in my life that I can count on for my success, that I can look back and go, the work we did together and the work that we continue to do together really puts me in a different place, both building my business and personally, because of my relationship with the guy I'm going to bring on with you today. His name is Jean-Louis Rodrigue, and he is the greatest movement coach in the world. You guys know my background. When I wrote my one-man play, Run to the Litter, I worked with the best director on that show, right? The best acting coach in the world, a guy named Larry Moss. And Larry Moss, we worked for months and months, and we were training and rehearsing and getting this play ready to go. And one day in rehearsal, Larry Moss came to me and he goes, "Bo, we're going to bring a guy in." And I go, "What do you mean you're going to bring a guy in?" He goes, we're going to bring a guy in that's going to put us over the top, that's going to allow us to stay in New York and not be shut down after the opening night, right? And he is a movement coach. His name is Jean-Louis Rodrigue. I said, "I'm an elite athlete, Larry. I don't need a movement coach." He goes, "Trust me, it's different on stage. You got to know how to have your story match the molecules that are on stage that the people are going to be watching." And lo and behold, that must have been close to 20 years ago, right? And Jean-Louis and I have worked together ever since, and we work diligently on the movements and the choreography and the physicality and the predatory nature of my body while it's on stage. And now, being that we're in this virtual world for a time, he is, expanded out to training with people like that. So he has trained huge movie stars, people like Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, Margot Robbie, the ones who always win awards. He seems to be the one that is constant in their lives. So without further ado, I want to bring him on. I'll ask him some questions. We'll get some Hollywood gossip if you guys really need that. And then we'll open it up to you guys like we always do, so you can ask Jean-Louis the questions that you have. So get those ready, get those prepared, and let's welcome one of my favorite guys in the whole world, Jean-Louis Rodrigue.
Hello, Bo. How are you? Hello, everybody.
Jean-Louis, welcome, buddy. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Good to see all your friends.
Yes, it's always good. Now, just so you guys know, so all my personal story power event, live events, in-person events that I've been doing for the last 10 years, Jean-Louis comes to every one of those, you guys, because of the importance of physicality in storytelling, in stage work, and now in camera work. It's so crucial to the success of the entrepreneurs that I work with, and I want it to be for you too. And just so you guys know, I know some of you have already joined us for our virtual event, August 24, 25, 26, 3-day virtual personal story power event. Jean-Louis is going to be there. He's going to train you on the physicality of your story. So just so everybody knows, I always say this, the only reason you're on this live with us today, the only reason any person has ever worked with me ever before is never anything that I say. It's always something I did. It is something that lives in the physical world that made you either trust me or say, I like this guy, or say, he's like me. That's what draws this trust, right? And that all goes back to the training that I've done over the years with Jean-Louis Rodrigue. And that's what he's going to bring to you guys in our virtual event, August 24, 25, and 26. And he's even going to do a very special training for as a bonus to some of you. And then I've got a special announcement later that Jean-Louis doesn't even know about. Okay, Jean-Louis, how you doing, man? Let me hear the.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Who's the what since we're in the environment we're in, I just want to check with you first. What's happening in Hollywood? Who are you working with? What movies are coming out so that we, as students of yours, can now start to watch the performances of that you coached, that you informed with physically, those performances. What can we watch? What can we expect to see from the people you've been working with? So fill us in on all that.
I've been working on a show that's actually starting this weekend on HBO called Lovecraft Country. So it's on HBO this weekend. And an actress named Jurnee Smollett. She was in Birds of Prey with Margot Robbie that I also worked with.
Got it.
So it's a group that I've been working. Hello, women. So the women have been very powerful and strong in this, and it's a fascinating look at the Jim Crow world, and it's going to be filled with monsters and activities. So it was extremely physical, and the characters are extremely physical. So you can see the physicality there. Because I think that this is what this medium can make you very flat and not alive. So you have to use your body. You have to use your breath. You have to use an energy that is different. And you can really see it in this actress.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, can't wait to see that. What about past performances that you've worked on, Jean-Louis?
Mm-hmm.
What about the past performances? Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about working with Leonardo DiCaprio and what you did with him.
Yeah, well, he was playing J. Edgar Hoover in J. Edgar, and his life in the film was from 20 years old to 60. So I had to transform him in the aging process, but also it was about, he started at the FBI. So it was really about an awareness, a study of looking at human behavior, really looking at human behavior and what that does to his starting the whole FBI and how they work. And what he came up with then is still being used now, very much so.
Wow.
For example, J. Edgar Hoover could tell the personality of somebody, but just shaking their hand. So it was that powerful presence, and also that awareness that he had that he borrowed from a hawk. So the animal studies was something also I taught.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, A-listers, Jean-Louis works a lot with animals, and that is really the thing that freed me up the most. Was as soon as we made me, like a predatory animal on stage. Now the audience doesn't know that's happening, right? I know, and Jean-Louis knows. The audience doesn't know that's happening. All they know is they're not looking away from the performer on stage or on camera, because they're actually, you can't look away from them because they are a predatory animal, and you just don't look away from them if you're in the presence of one of them. So it's the same technique that Jean-Louis uses for Leonardo DiCaprio, for Margot Robbie, for me, and for you. So Jean-Louis, all these A-listers, they're fairly new at starting to discover their story. They're starting to write their stories. They're starting to tell their stories. Tell them why the physicality of that story is so important.
Because your body really tells the story. When we speak to people, especially in this medium, 75% of what you're telling lives in the body. I think it's only about 16% in the voice and the tone, and just 7% in the writing. It's kind of amazing. So your body helps you to step into the story, but also embody the character. Very much like an animal. I always go back to animals. because animals have territory. They need to survive. They need to be aware of what's going on. And that's very true with all of us, especially now.
So Jean-Louis, what would be the first step for them to start to, feel it, understand it, train themselves, or rather retrain themselves into this, physical beast that we are?
Yeah, and this is something that I'm telling you to do now, but actually it's something that you're going to be doing the rest of your life, which is to develop a sense of awareness that is a lot more powerful, a lot more useful. It's very practical. And it has a lot to do with balance. You may notice myself and Bo, the way that we're sitting, we're not just sitting back and, and kind of collapsing. We are actually very much like an antenna. I am opening myself up and I am balancing myself on the sits bones and really getting as much as I can of my spine so the energy can carbonate. So, and what I mean by carbonate, it's almost like champagne. You open the bottle of champagne and you get all this energy, all these bubbles moving up. And if you look at Bo, he is full of this energy, life's energy, and you can really learn how to do it yourself. It's not difficult. It just needs practice.
Yeah. So you guys were about to open the play in New York, right? And the critics are all going to be there, and Jean-Louis and I and Larry Moss, and we were working our butts off to put the best performance we possibly could. And we would do rehearsals where it was just, the play is 90 minutes long. It's 56 pages of writing. We would do the play, you guys, with no words. We would do it all physical, and Jean-Louis would be on stage with me, and I would be playing, say, a cheetah, like a wild cheetah. No one knew it, like I said, but all they know is like, wow, I'm not looking away from this guy for some reason. And Jean-Louis would actually move with me on stage during rehearsals and adjust my head or adjust my hand, because your body's got all these ways of kind of apologizing for itself, kind of indicating to the audience, hey, I'm not going to hurt you. Hey, I'm going to be great, but not too great. Hey, I'm going to be masculine, but not too masculine. You see what I mean? And Jean-Louis would just walk behind me and correct all these things over and over and over again until the play didn't even need words. The play was like a ballet. It was choreographed and it was expressive. Now, if you have the ability to do that and then add the words back in, now you've got a tiger by the tail. Now your audience really, really can't, they have to pay attention to you. Talk about that a little bit, Jean-Louis.
Yeah, when you talk about how we rehearsed, I remember that we actually had Bo hunt his spray, and he literally got his spray and ate it just as practice. How the animal would eat the prey. And it was absolutely remarkable, the amount of energy and and then he transferred it to the game and to the play. But it wasn't until you got that. Remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
It was this primitive instinct.
Yep. And that's what and if you guys go back and you look at the critiques from all the critics of the play, they always mention that. They were like, wow, this is the kind of power you never see on stage. Very guttural, very animalistic, very predatory. And that's what the critics felt, and that's what people felt. And that's going to be true for you too, as you start to tell your story and you start to physicalize it. People, they just can't look away. They have to pay attention. That's why this physicality and this training with Jean-Louis is so crucial. So Jean-Louis, I know that you're going to train, you have a bonus training for our people that have signed up for the Personal Story Power event. And and I know you're going to talk about this when you train them, but let's just give them a little tip on the current world, the virtual world. What tip could you give them today? Because we're so in front of a camera, and you and me are doing the same thing, right, Jean-Louis? So what tip could you give them about the physicality of the camera? Because we're so, I think we all feel so trapped by the limitations of a camera. What tip would you give them?
The tip is to be, because the camera is on top of you, very close, do not be afraid to be intimate with the person that is listening to you. And I must say, it does take a bit of consciousness and an awareness and a choice to go beyond the screen and reach the person that you're talking to. So you are actually utilizing your body, your eyes, your face to reach somebody else on the other side, and also saying to yourself, I have time. Because the thing is, if you push information to somebody else and you do not give enough time for the other person to receive what you're giving, they will not feel, they just will feel that you have a automatic script rather than that you're connecting to the other person on the other side. And often I do this because I'm realizing that all of us are quite stressed out by the situation and tired. So we have to be empathetic. So it has a lot to do with empathy, and it has a lot to do with humanity. That's the other thing that I was going to say, that do not be afraid to allow your own breath be heard. So for example, if I just took a big breath right now and I just let it out, it makes me alive. It makes me human. And the other person feels it. So they know that I'm not just doing something by rote, but rather that I'm living in this moment, and I am being truthful and authentic. And also I am being very pragmatic with the moment. So on many levels, it has so much to do with your humanity. And the thing is, you have to learn to do it again and to do it again. And this is where the training comes in. I have to teach you techniques, and I'm so excited to be able to do that with the training that's coming up.
Yeah, I know. It's always our client's favorite thing is the physical day. We have 3 days together, but the physical day, which is sandwiched in between the two, the beginning and the end, is Jean-Louis, and it's always everybody's favorite. And when I think of working in front of the camera, Jean-Louis, which has been a big adjustment for us too, a big adaptation. You know what I always find, what the work that you and I did in the theater, the warm-up work that we did to get my body, my breath, my voice, this whole instrument free enough to perform the play, we would go through this warm-up, everybody, which you'll learn when you come to the event. And I have found, and I've always done that warm-up for the last 20 years. I always do it before I'm going to go on stage. But I have found it, Jean-Louis, to be even more crucial now that I'm operating in front of a limited space. The warm-up, the activation, that's so necessary now that everything is so tight and so close. So I've really warmed up even more now that I'm in front of a camera so much.
Me too. Me too. And I'll tell you one thing about the camera is that we get a little bit like in tunnel vision, and often we can collapse and get really small. And at the end of the day, we get really short. Instead, and this is something that I worked with Bo, is that our instrument is really big and that we have a big back, and the support of our head is literally in the middle of us, and we have to access this. And this is what the training is really about. It's about really training yourself so you can do it on your own over and over and over again, so it becomes yours. But always realize that there's a big world back here that we don't realize. And you have to bring in everything that's behind you so you can support what's in front of you. I know for many of you may not make a lot of sense, but yet every animal does it. They're very aware of what's going on in their backs, in their spine, because that's usually where they get attacked, from the back.
Yeah, got it. So good. That's so good. And Jean-Louis, in the athletic world, which is, my prior world. So in the athletic world, and I know you've worked with a lot of elite athletes yourself.
Yeah.
In the amateur athlete world, athletes always want to build up their front. Like they want to have abs, they want to have biceps, they want to have quads, right? They want to build up their front. For athletes, the most elite of athletes, it's their back that they're constantly working on. Their posterior chain is where all your athleticism lives. So it makes a lot of sense from what you're talking about.
And not only that, but absolutely, your support is all in the back muscles.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that if you want to be tall and powerful and a top predator, really, it's all has to do with the relationship of the head to the back. And we will work a lot to bring it into your communication, to bring it into your talk, to bring it to your story. There is a back to everything. There's a back to your story even. There's a spine to your story.
Yeah, it's so good. Sweetheart, do we have some questions from the A-listers?
Yes, we do.
Okay, cool. Jean-Louis, you cool with answering some questions?
I am ready.
Okay.
All right, so Derek Nelson says, what is the first thing you have a student focus on when they start working with you? What usually needs to be corrected first?
Wonderful, wonderful question. The first thing I do is we all have to step either on stage or in front of people. So it's your feet. It's your feet, and if you're sitting, it's your sits bones. But even now that I'm sitting, guess what? I have my feet. So the feet have to do with rooting yourself. Believe it or not, the energy, the grounding, the base of yourself and your story comes from the roots, the connection between your feet and the floor. So that's the first thing that I do. And to me, a lot of people say, what is presence? What is presence? And as far as I'm concerned is how are those feet connecting and spreading on the floor? So again, animals have amazing feet. They're spread, connected. This is my world. This is my territory. Don't screw around, right? This is my territory. So that's what I work on a lot.
That's great. Great. It's so true too. That's all I remember. I remember going through all that. And that's how my warm up starts, is with the feet. People are going to pay attention to you based on your relationship with the ground that you're standing on, because that gives you gravitas. What do we have, Ben? Next question.
We have a question from Tiffany, and she actually has two questions, but you can probably answer them at the same time. She says, what is a way to use physicality when speaking to people at work, colleagues and bosses? And then she says, does using physicality help for others to take us more seriously?
That's good.
Now that's a really important one. I can answer both. So it's very important for us to be present for each other and to collaborate with people and be honest and show with your body that you're listening. So you want to be really aware of doing something like this. I'm going to do it for you guys so you can see someone that is not really listening. So I've not only collapsed, but I've gone back and maybe a little bit to my side. Maybe I'll go this way or this way. And you may even see some attitude, like, I don't want to listen to you, right? Can you see that? And the energy goes way down. But if you're really listening, it's opening up your whole body to be with someone else, right? And in terms of the power of confidence, when you are stepping on your feet and your whole body is allowed to expand, that gives you more of a sense of self and a sense of confidence than anything else. You see, so that's something that we're going to work on. And I have different procedures. And procedures are, I don't like to call them exercises because I want them to be process-oriented. Things that you can take and you can develop. And you can be more human. This is a really important thing to put out here. We want to be human. Human to human. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another question?
Another question.
Riaz says, what is the biggest struggle you both still have with connecting through the camera? How have you overcome it?
I'll answer first, and I'll let Jean-Louis. The biggest problem I have is just getting used to it's a piece of machinery in front of you, and when you're on stage, which is where I've made all my bones, is on stage. You have the audience to play off of. You have their energy. You have their face. They are your connective tissue. In fact, I use my audience like a lifeline. And so they are necessary, right? So on a camera, when you can't see them, you have to use extra energy because now you're not only creating what you're saying, you're actually creating the faces and the energy of the audience that they're bringing. So as I'm speaking into this lens right now, I'm creating the energy on the other side of the lens. Normally on stage, I'm only worried about my energy. Their energy is coming at me and I'm taking it and I'm using it. Camera, I have fun. Jean-Louis and I were talking before we rolled the cameras today, and we both agreed that at the end of the day of camera work, we are exhausted. Now, it's hard work to be on a stage and hold attention for many hours, right? But to do it on camera, you're doing double work. So after a long day of camera work, you have deserved a nice recovery time. Get your butt in some ice water, take an ice bath, get a massage, get what you need, because these cameras, man, it's double work, at least for now, as we make this adaptation. Jean-Louis, what about you?
Yeah, you have to make friends with a camera. And what I mean by that is that you need to learn to dance and have a relationship with the camera. So you don't think it's an enemy or an intruder into your life. So when you're looking at that camera, like Bo, yes, you are reaching and you are having a conversation, but the actual screen, the actual camera, it becomes your best friend. And a few years ago, I was working with this green screen cameras that literally are like robots. They can move, They can go up, they can go down. And so one of the operators said, Jean-Louis, why don't you come and dance with the camera? Do a little dance. And it was great. You know, I learned that the camera has a particular personality, and so instead of you seeing this as something that is an enemy, you make it friends.
Wow, that's great. That's a great procedure to go through. Make friends with the camera, because we're always so in hating the camera. Like, I don't like the camera. Well, if you don't like the camera, it probably doesn't like you either. So you might as well have a love story between you two.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great.
What else do we have, Ben?
Yeah, Richard says, what body movements create leadership?
Good.
Great. Well, the most important body movement that creates leadership is moving up. So everybody, just for fun, get your finger like this and point up and allow your hand to go up and allow your head and body to move up with, and do that again. Do that again, just letting yourself go up. And notice what it does to you. If you can allow your spine to follow that direction up, right? You can do it also this way. I kind of like to do it this way. So the idea is to let yourself go up in that direction. So leadership really has a lot to do with stature. It has to do with, if you look at the world around you, whether you can see it, so you're seeing the farthest horizon. Very much like an athlete. Athletes are always looking for where their mates are on the field. So they have to go up a little bit further up. So leadership has a lot to do with you seen from a higher point of view, not as a snobbish or a superior kind of attitude, but rather as, I want to see up here so I can see what the situation is, what the situation is about. And I can show you the opposite. So if I'm looking from underneath here and I'm looking up like this, I'm not feeling very confident. I'm feeling like the world is going down at me. So you going up gives you automatically more energy, more clarity, and superior, more powerful. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love that. What else we have, Ben?
Yeah, so Derek says, you mentioned needing to use your face more on video and Zoom. Can you give specific examples of how you might use your face?
Who did I say that, or Jean-Louis?
I think Jean-Louis maybe said that.
Okay.
I
Maybe say that.
I don't remember that, but maybe he did.
I remember that either. I actually said to use your body more. The face, the eyes and the face are really, you know, as we all know, are the windows of your soul. So yes, I think that, I don't know about using, but opening. I would say open your face more and allow your eyes to be more relaxed. When you want to see the world around you, you open your eyes more. I even tell people to let your jaw release. So your mouth and your tongue and the jaw can be freer, so you have better voice production or resonance. And allow your emotions. The emotions are the energy behind what you're saying. So you need that emotional connection, and Bo is so good at that. You know, that's why I think he's such an excellent actor, that he's able to express his emotional world right away. because he's done it for years and years and years. And when you tell your story, there is an emotional connection to it, an experience, whether it's a tragedy or something that made you extremely happy, or a loss. And all of us are feeling that now. It's impossible not to feel it, right?
Yeah.
So use it by open your face rather than starting to do a lot of extra stuff.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, good. What else we got,
I
babe?
have a great one from Courtney Kribari. She says, why do you recommend channeling a predatory animal on stage?
Good. Well, predators are efficient. So predators are efficient. They're hungry. They have a need. And they know how to use their energy and funnel their energy to their hunt. And we all need to learn that. We all need to learn that. I'm learning that every day. And I want to say one thing about animals. They know also how to connect with their teammates in the hunt. So they work as a cohesive group. So any company that wants to work better as a group, working as a group of animals, they know how to communicate with each other really well. And they know how to touch each other in such a way that immediately they're together. So I will be teaching that during our training, because that is so important.
Yeah, and I think when I think of predator animals, and a few pop up, like a leopard or a grizzly bear, or a great white shark, or a falcon, or a lion, I think of the nobility that they carry and the trustworthiness that they carry. Like, even when you see a lion move, you trust that that thing can eat you anytime if it wants, right? There's a trustworthiness to that and a nobility to that. And I think if us human beings would actually surrender to, the predators that we are, right? Because we're a part of the predator animals. In fact, we're like, we're at the top of that food chain. So instead of apologizing for it all the time, which what we typically do, to actually let it out, it actually provides the opposite of what you think. A lot of times when I'm talking about predator animals, people will go, well, I don't want to scare my audience. Well, it'll have the exact opposite effect on your audience. Your audience will actually feel safer in your presence if you're unapologetic about how you move and who you are.
Absolutely. And also you said it, when you want to engender trust, it's because you are authentic and you're in control, but also you're very giving. There's a very giving quality to it. So it works in every way.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, actually, I have one last question.
One last question Don has.
For me. So can Jean-Louis share a little bit about how he's going to train our attendees at the virtual power event, and then also how he's been able to see results even taking his training on Zoom, what that experience has been like, so we can get an idea of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I work at UCLA, and the whole university had to go to Zoom and remote teaching by remote. So I had to take all my teaching of the past 30 years, and I had to transfer it to this medium. So what you will get is very much a connection to your body that is extraordinary. And hopefully I will take you from the habitual to the extraordinary. And it takes quite a lot for me to do that, but I'm going to change your habits. How you use yourself, how you see yourself as a person and as a practitioner. I'm going to help you to connect with your breath in a different way, so you can use your breathing to inject new energy in your talking and into your communication. The other thing that I'm going to work a lot with you is for you to see your body as a musical instrument. So your body has all different kinds of notes that you can use in your work, whatever your work is. When you attune your whole body, you can use different kinds of places in your body that you've never thought about. So hopefully I will take you from the everyday habitual way of using yourself to an extraordinary way of using yourself. So that's exciting to me. I will teach you also to relate to other people in a different way that not only connects you to someone else, but also that you build a relationship to this other person. And that is something that it's a little bit more tricky, how to build up confidence, trust, and relationship, so you can have a better relationship with your audience.
So good. And you guys, I can tell you firsthand, not only from my own experience and my own stage performance and what it's given me, just the freedom that it's given me to move, to express, to be open, to be vulnerable, to be exposed, which is what is attractive from the audience's point of view. Jean-Louis is the best in the world at that. I've never seen anybody be able to do what he does. And that's why the movie stars who could go out, I mean, these Leonardo DiCaprio and Margot Robbie and Toby Maguire, they can go to whoever they want, right? They can afford anybody they want, but they go to this guy. Now, also a story that Jean-Louis didn't tell you today, and because he can't talk much about it, was he is also hired at a very critical time for our country, in that the FBI was, we were having guys who were infiltrating cells in the Middle East that were being killed at an alarming rate. So who do they hire so that their bodies don't betray them, so our country can be safer? They hire Jean-Louis, and he works with the top 14, 15 FBI agents who do that kind of undercover work so that their body doesn't betray them, and so that us here in the rest of the world can stay safer if their bodies don't betray them. Because if their body does betray them, it's life and death for them. They usually will get killed right then on the spot. So that's one thing that Jean-Louis didn't talk about. But all of you who are coming to Personal Story Power for the 3-day event, this is what you're going to get with Jean-Louis. It is the best training ever. That offer closes down tonight at 7 o'clock. If there's any of you left who would like to be there, who would like to have Jean-Louis' training, I'd go to boeason.com/PSP event and sign up. And sign up for that. It closes down at 7 tonight. And I always pretend like I'm the boss of our company, but Dawn's actually the real boss. You guys probably already knew that. And she just told me that let's open that back up, because we closed, the special training that Jean-Louis is going to give you guys as a bonus. We closed that down last week, right? So no one else could get in, but Jean-Louis, but Dawn said, hey, let's open it back up just for the A-listers only. Let the A-listers in and let them have that special training, private group training with Jean-Louis too, and have him during the 3-day too. So go to boeason.com/PSP event. You can sign up for that until 7 o'clock tonight, and you'll get all those bonuses and all that training with me and Jean-Louis. Okay, Jean-Louis, you're the best, dude. I love you, man.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a real pleasure being with all of you, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, thanks. Can't wait to see you in, what is that, a couple weeks, 10 days, something like that?
Yep.
We'll see you then. Okay, buddy. Thanks for being here, man.
You're welcome. Take care of yourself. Yay.
Yay. Okay. I love to surround myself, guys, with the best in the world at what they do. And that's exactly what you experienced just now, which is why the FBI hires them, which is why the movie stars hire them, because their lifeblood is based on their physical body. But isn't ours too? Isn't our lifeblood based on our physical body? Like, who's going to pay attention to us? Who's going to trust us? Who's going to build our company? Who's going to pay us? All of that has to do with the molecules that are sitting in front of each other right now. Here's what I want you to do for your marching orders. I would, if you haven't signed up and you haven't taken advantage of that special offer and the bonus of having Jean-Louis, do that. You guys do that, because we want to make you the best. I want to leave you with this. Start to be aware. This is the marching orders. Start to be aware of your physical body. Start to be aware of your connection to the ground, which gives you magnetism and gravitas. Okay? Start to be aware of how you move, how you apologize for your movements, how you apologize for your size. You're going to start being aware of the space that you take up on this planet, and you start taking it up unapologetically, and watch what happens to your life. Watch what happens to the attraction coming to you, because people aren't attracted to apologetic people. Like, I'm sorry, am I taking up too much space? Oh, my body's moving this way. Oh, I'm so sorry. Imagine if a great athlete did that, or a great ballet dancer did that. Apologize the whole time. Or a great lead guitarist said, oh, I'm sorry, am I scaring you the way I'm playing this guitar? No, they're pure expression, pure physicality. Well, that's what we want you to be in front of the camera and on stage. So start to be aware of that, and then we'll put it in place here in the next couple of weeks at Personal Story Power. Okay, thanks for joining us today. It's great to have you, and I'm glad you were here. Get out there, be that movement animal that you were born to be. Thanks, guys.